Good evening, Mayor and City Councilmen. My name is Anna Hammonds, and I live at 5880 FM 663. This is Mr. Ed Gardner, and as most of you know, Ed and I are opponents. We are running for the same City Council seat, and culture and our world would tell us that we need to be against each other, that we need to disagree and fight against each other and be in opposition no matter the topic. But tonight, we are laying politics aside, we are laying campaigning aside, and we come before you united in our valuing of life. And we want to bring before you the petition and the conversation of making Midlothian a sanctuary city. So a couple of years ago, Judge Little made the county a sanctuary county. And so we're asking you to make Midlothian a sanctuary city, and this would be the first city in the state that will be a sanctuary city inside a sanctuary county. And one might say, okay, well, isn't that a little much? Why do we need to be a city inside a county? And there's a couple of reasons for that. One is that when the rubber meets the road, whenever the decisions are made for this type of conversation, it's at the city level. The county, it's awesome that we have that and we've made that declaration of what we value, but it is implemented right here at your desk. So that's one thing. The second one is that as we add another city to the list of sanctuary cities, we are elevating this conversation up to the state and the federal conversations. We're adding another name to the list in this fight for life as a whole. And then finally, we're making a stand as a community and as a city to say, hey, this is what we value here in Midlothian. We value our families, we value children, we value the unborn, and we value our conservative lifestyle here. And so we're being proactive and coming out and saying, this is what we want to push forward. We want to push this conversation forward instead of reacting whenever it comes to our desk. So we are respectfully and in the most honoring way possible asking you to push this conversation forward to consider making Midlothian a sanctuary city for the unborn. Thank you.
Ed Gardner. I live at 2811 Skinner Road, and I'm also here with Anna, standing in lockstep because this is a very important issue. In addition to the aspects of layering of having a sanctuary city within the county, there's a very important reason for that as well, and that is that the ordinance as it's written in the county ends at our city limits. They do not have jurisdictions within the city limits. So even though we're a sanctuary county, without this ordinance, the city is not part of that. So, I ask you and I urge you to consider adding this ordinance and approving it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next three speakers will continue this topic. Since there are three of you, I ask you please to keep to the 3 minutes, and I'll give you a heads up about 30 seconds prior to the end of your 3 minutes. Mr. Hugh Reynolds. Name and address, please.
Hugh Reynolds, 503 North 1st Street, here in Midlothian. This past Sunday, Christians celebrated the feast of the Palm Sunday, when Jesus made his triumphant entry into Jerusalem. Matthew 21 states, when they had come near Jerusalem and had reached the Mount of Olives, Jesus sent 2 disciples, saying to them, go into the village ahead of you, and immediately you will find a donkey tied and a colt with her. Untie them and bring them to me. If anyone says anything to you, just say this: the master has need of them. I'm kind of like that donkey. The master has need of me. The master has need of Ed. The master has need of Anna and John, all my friends. And I would argue that the master has need of you all, our city leaders. Thank you.
Thanks, Richard. That doesn't always happen. My name is pronounced correctly. John Hammaker. I live at 2810 Coldwater Court. Lived here for 22 years. Resident of Midlothian. Our 3 kids graduated from high school here. We came here. We moved from a small rural town in East Texas. Moved here because of the schools, because of the churches, because of the community, the family that it nurtured. I'm now retired, kinda. I own some property, some rental properties in town. We own a little business, and we do property management now. So I'm semi-retired in addition to my participation on the board of directors at the First Look Women's Pregnancy Clinic, and I help at the church, do a lot of stuff at the church on the vestry and all that stuff too. So, why me? Hugh just told you, because he told me to, not Hugh, him. You just talked about the same God that you prayed to. Well, what are we doing here? Why are we doing this? Because he told us to. He tells us. I'm here representing others, not just the few that are coming to speak this evening, not just the dozens that work at First Look, not the countless hundreds of women and men that come through First Look's doors, but there's neighbors that are like-minded of us. There are some of y'all that are like-minded of us. Some of these folks are like-minded of us. Think about this. There's a lot of people that have the same interests as we do and don't even realize, is this something I need to be excited about? That I need to deal with? Yeah, it is. But truly, I'm here representing a bunch of babies that need you to represent them as well. You represent me. I'm telling you what I represent. The Sanctuary City thing, it's coming. I don't mind people moving here from out of state. I don't mind people moving here from California. I know some wonderful folks from California. I don't want others moving into our community telling us how we should think and what we should do and what our values ought to be. I know what they are. I moved here for a reason. We all moved here for a reason. This Roe v. Wade thing, something's going to happen soon. We need to get ahead of that. For the same reason that we moved here, we need to make sure that we're offering to others the schools, the churches, the community, the family environment that we came for, that many of you came for. We need to make sure that that's still out there. If you stop and think, what's the biggest news going on in the world right now? And that's Ukraine. How many times did the people in Ukraine think they're not going to invade us? They're not going to, right? How many times do we have to think Planned Parenthood isn't coming? The comparison goes on from there. Don't believe they won't come. They'll be coming. They'll be after our churches, our schools, our community. They're going to be after our kids. Not my kids. My kids are grown up and gone. They're all good. They'll be coming after my grandkids, your grandkids. Compare the deaths in Ukraine, the millions that are being displaced, to the babies that are lost to abortion every year. If you want to compare some numbers. Each one of you, as my elected representative, I ask you to get ahead of this and act on this opportunity to become the Sanctuary City. It's coming up. We want to make sure that you guys are informed of that now. If there's anything I can do personally to help you with that and help your education on that before it comes to vote, got my name and number and my address. I'll be glad to talk to you about it. I believe in pro-life. There's many others that do too. I think you do. The same God that we prayed to earlier. He makes it clear where he stands on that. I ask you to do what you believe in and to please act. Do what he tells you to do. End of report. Thank you.
Thank you. Blaine, Greg.
Thank you, Council. My name is Blaine Craig. I reside at 2974 FM 66. That is just outside of the city limits for the first time in my almost 16 years living in Midlothian. We anticipate coming back very soon, but the church that I serve, Oak Crest Baptist Church, I've been there, as I said, just under 16 years, and in that time we have seen a lot of changes in Midlothian, as you have, certainly. And part of that change has been a proliferation of churches. We have all kinds of churches. We have Methodist, we have Assembly of God, we've got Presbyterian, we've got Baptist, Church of Christ, Bible churches, holiness churches, all kinds of churches. And within those churches, we have a lot of different varying beliefs when it comes to various aspects of Christianity or biblical interpretation. But what I think we would all agree upon is in all of those churches, regardless of the denominational name or non-denominational name on their church signs, there is one fundamental aspect of our Judeo-Christian ethic that we all agree on. And that is that we as human beings are made in the image of God. From conception to death, from the womb to the tomb, we are made in the image of God. And therefore life is valuable, even for those who are unborn. Of all of the Bible verses that I might quote for you that we might have varying disagreements on, Justin and I both being pastors, we might disagree on fine nuances. Here's one that we can undeniably 100% affirm. For you formed my inward parts. You knitted me together in my mother's womb. I praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful are your works. My soul knows it very well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was being made in the secret, intricately woven in the depths of the earth. Your eyes saw my unformed substance. In your book were written, every one of them, the days that were formed for me. When as yet there was none of them. I want to speak out strongly in support of Midlothian, as has already been said, being one of the first sanctuary cities. And I think that that is a moniker that we can claim proudly, not to our own glory, but to the glory of the one true and living triune God. Thank you for your time.